afternoon. You're watching Businessworld Live. I'm Jes Delos Santos. Let's take a look at how the local bourse closed today, Monday. Okay, not a happy Monday for local stocks. That dipped today down by 0.2% to 6,937.96. Already an improvement, though, from being down as much as 0.6% earlier in Monday's session. But the fact that we're still at 6,900 is a good sign for Ed Francisco of BDO Capital. He said in this morning's broadcast that there's a buildup going on as investors feel that more vaccines are coming in and that the economy will soon reopen, resulting in a rebound in stock prices just this morning. Of course, 1 million more doses of Sinovac vaccines arrived in the country, bringing our total stock of the China-made jab to 12 million. Hours before that, we also received our first supply of Moderna vaccines. That's nearly 250,000 doses. All in all, we reached another milestone as well in the country's inoculation drive, with over 10 million doses already administered. But one development might just help the index break past 7,000. Francisco says a loosening of restrictions might just be a good sign. That means a downtrend in cases as well for areas outside Metro Manila like Davao. This especially as he sees consumption already picking up in NCR. But according to the palace, it's still unlikely for GCQ to be eased in NCR. Current classifications, of course, are set to expire on June 30. Now, the IATF is set to meet tonight to discuss that. The Octa Research Group, for one, is in fact also backing the extension of GCQ in Metro Manila. Now, from the main index, let's go to one specific stock. You have one food operator here that's been mirroring the movement in the index today. That is Jollibee, of course. The stock today in the red by 0.2% after approving its first preferred share sale worth 20 billion pesos with a shelf period of up to 3 years. We're talking about 20 million common shares being reclassified as preferred shares on an offer price of 1,000 pesos per share, with initial issuance set this year for a base offer for 8 million shares with an equivalent of 8 billion pesos, and it has an oversubscription of 4 billion pesos for 4 million shares. The food operator is also planning to open about 450 stores in 2021 and at least 500 stores annually in the next few years. Now, despite those moves and those developments here, Jollibee still in the red, like what I mentioned earlier, now at 215 pesos and 60 centavos a share. Now, lastly, let's take a look at SM Prime here. The mall operator said that it's still monitoring market conditions to weigh if it's time for them to actually foray into REITs. Now, President Jeffrey Lim told Bloomberg that they have always considered tapping REIT to recycle capital, but that size and timing will depend on market conditions. This comes, of course, after the Inquirer reported that SM Prime could wait until 2022 to unleash a 1 billion peso REIT IPO. SM Prime joining the sell-off today, and the main index got sold off now at 37 pesos and 70 centavos a share, down by 0.25%. Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. PLDT's fintech arm Voyager has secured $167 million in new funding for its e-wallet service, PayMaya. Voyager welcomed the World Bank-tied IFC Asset Management Company as a new investor, joining its current shareholders PLDT, Global Investment KKR, and Chinese tech giant Tencent. The company says it will use the new funding to expand PayMaya's financial services and digital banking offers. The fintech firm said it has applied for a digital bank license with the central bank. Voyager says it wants to tap more Filipinos in the bank sector through PayMaya and its soon-to-be digital bank. Now, the bulk of additional imported pork products are expected to arrive as early as July until October. This consists of about 140,000 metric tons, or 70% of the minimum access value imports approved under Executive Order 133. The Agriculture Department expects pork prices to drop below 300 pesos per kilo in the third quarter thanks to the additional supply. But pork producers say the low prices, if realized, will only be temporary as local production takes a hit due to competition from imports. The DA is hopeful the repopulation program will be enough to incentivize producers to keep the local industry up and running despite the additional imports. Now, still on that topic, months after the approval of EO 133, which allowed the entry of more imported meat to stabilize pork prices, have prices already steadied? Let's find out from Agriculture Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes. Good afternoon, Asik Reyes.
Good afternoon, Jess, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Of course, sir. Now, where are we now when it comes to the efficacy, or at least how effective is a tariff adjustment here in terms of lowering pork prices? By how much of a reduction have we seen so far?
Yeah, we're seeing 50 to 80%, 50 to 80 pesos difference between frozen pork, kasim, and pigi, which ranges from about 230 pesos to 300. That's the range of the frozen kasim, and versus the fresh, ranging from 290 to 360 pesos per kilo. As for liempo, the pork ham, frozen prices range from 270 to a low of 270 to a high of 320 per kilo, while fresh pork ham or liempo fetch about 330 pesos to a high of 400 pesos. But again, as you said, we're looking at a downtrend in prices in the next quarter or so, and until the end of the year, as imports will come in.
Okay, sir, when you say 50 to 80% price reduction, this is from what period?
No, meaning 50 to 80 peso difference between
Okay.
the frozen and fresh per kilo.
All right.
So we
Okay.
would like to see that in the next few months or so.
Now,
Wherein frozen prices of frozen pork will be cheaper than fresh pork as we continue to, again, the industry recover.
like what you did mention earlier, we're expecting prices to at least be steady until the third quarter, at least to go lower by from
Yes.
300 pesos. But this time around, you also have SINAG, the Samahan ng Agrikultura, saying that the lowering of pork tariffs really did not benefit consumers, saying prices of imported meat did not go down as much. How would you respond to that, sir?
No, we believe that it is it's making a kick. Okay, we're seeing low prices right now. Yes, and so 270 to 300 peso pork prices versus the a high of 320 to 400. So again, we're seeing a big difference in prices of fresh pork versus frozen pork. So again. It's their opinion. But again, as we're saying, based on our monitoring, prices are going down.
Now, also, we did report about how the bulk of the imports will be arriving between July to October. That's
Yes,
70% of the total
yes.
allotment, around 140,000 tons. What's the rationale behind this? Why not equally ration the supply, the incoming supply?
Yeah, the 140,000 metric tons or 70%, we just want to calibrate it July, August, September, October. That's 4 months. And about 30%, the remainder of 60,000 metric tons, will be in for November, December, January, 3 months for the peak season again, for the demand for pork.
Mhm.
So again, we're calibrating it so it won't come in all at the same time this quarter or
Mhm.
third quarter. I mean,
Mhm. Sir, wouldn't it make more sense to at least bring in more supply during the peak season, which, as you mentioned, at least is during the latter part of the year?
yes, 30%, 60,000 metric tons. By that
Mhm.
time, we're seeing fresh pork to come in, a lot of fresh pork because some are repopulating now in Visayas and Mindanao. So we'll see additional supply from our industry, those recovering from Visayas and Mindanao, and some
Now,
parts of Luzon, Batangas for one. As we may have read, Batangas has declared that most of their towns are now free from ASF, so they're now uh, doing the sentineling program, meaning they're putting in 3 or 5 piglets per farm to see if there's still virus. If there's none, no infection, then they'll load again in time for the Christmas season. So it takes about 4 to 6 months to raise a piglet to 100 or 80 to 100 kilos.
mhm. Now, speaking of which, how's your repopulation program coming along so far? How are local producers responding, of course, to the surge of imported pork?
Yeah. In Visayas and Mindanao, they're picking up. And again, as we said, in some parts of Luzon, Batangas for one, they're upbeat on it. So again, in fact, we have a roadshow wherein we're encouraging backyard racers and commercial ones to invest in agriculture, and the Development Bank of the Philippines and Land Bank of the Philippines are putting a lot of money into this, 30 billion from Land Bank and 12 billion at least from Development Bank of the Philippines to bankroll loans for the commercial sector.
Okay, but do we have specific targets here when it comes to repopulation for the local industry here, and how far along are we when it comes to at least achieving those targets?
So we're looking to recover about at least 3 million hogs now that we lost last year in a span of 2 to 3 years. So again, we're getting into that. So it's equivalent to about 300,000 breeders, no? 3 million. So again, uh, the industry, the private industry is upbeat, and again, we're encouraging them to borrow money, low interest loans from DBP and Land Bank, and some big companies are putting in their monies too for the breeding portion of it.
So let me clarify that, sir. 3 million, no? Ang
Yeah,
target natin.
we're recovering. Yes, we
And
lost 3 million heads last year, so that's what we want to recover for the next 2 to 3 years.
and so far for 2021, what figure are we looking at?
We're gaining ground. Siguro nasa 200, 300,000 level additional, 500,000 by the end of the year. We'll see the survey by January, as the PSEi will conduct another survey for starting January 2022. Okay,
Mhm. And
so
how's
we'd like to see more of our backyard racers and commercial racers, especially from Visayas and Mindanao, to go full blast.
Mhm. Now, how's the ASF situation like now in the country? Any updates here? I do recall, of course, during a recent interview with you, sir, you did mention that you're looking at possibly using ivermectin to help
Yes,
combat ASF. So, how's that coming along?
yeah. There are several biologics being tested, ibuprofen for one, and several viral sprays, and also we're testing a vaccine developed by the U.S. in partnership with a major global company, and now it's on about second month of now. So we're looking to complete it by in 84 days or about 60 60 days from now, 2 months from now. So we hope to see favorable results from there. So again, just incidence of ASF is waning, meaning it's from a high of 1,400 samples tested, positive samples in quarter 1 of this year. It's gone down to 880 positive samples in quarter 2. So we only have about uh, limited uh, incidence reports from 51 barangays in 29 municipalities and about 10 provinces. Okay, so ASF incidence is waning.
Okay,
Is decreasing.
Okay, at least a bit of a good news there to end our
Yes, it is.
discussion. Again, like what you mentioned as well, you're looking at August as a possible timeline for us to come up with a clearer result regarding your study on ivermectin as a
Yes,
possible.
and vaccine. Aside from ivermectin, the vaccine itself.
All right, good. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Again, Agriculture Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jes, on behalf of Secretary William Dar, Department of Agriculture. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Good afternoon, sir. And those are the biggest stories this trading day, June 28, 2021. Catch Business World Live again tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jes Delos Santos. We are One News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.